let's go, man. We're in a roll. We're going. All right.
Mhm.
So this
Yes.
series right here was, before, injuries and stuff like that got started. As far as the Eastern Conference goes, this was probably the one that was going to be the most exciting for me. And that is three-seeded Boston against six-seeded Philadelphia. Now, what hurts
Mhm.
Philly's chances, and I actually had two different predictions before I found out, how serious the various injury situations were, with Ben Simmons missing the rest of the season, and I think Joel Embiid will be back, but he was hurt a little bit there, but I kind of had it, after looking at all things considered, kind of had it similar to how, their last playoff meeting went. It was the 2018 Eastern Conference semis, and, a healthy Philly team went against Boston, and it was, Boston ended up winning the series 4 games to 1. And,
Mhm.
with all things considered, I don't know, this still might shock some people, but I could see this one going the exact same way. I am picking Boston in 5. And the reason why I'm picking Boston 4 games to 1 again, Sixers fans are not going to be happy about that, but I have my reasons. And you know, when I look at how talented the Boston Celtics are on their wing positions with, Brown and Tatum, and, you have Gordon Hayward, who's, actually looking back to that all-star form that he had in Utah. And I just think that for anybody to try to guard, those three guys, and you still have to worry about Kemba Walker at their point guard position, I think that is a foursome that is very challenging for anybody. And the reason why I gave the Sixers 1 game is because I know that Joel Embiid he's going to have to be special in this, like, special is not even the word. He's going to have to be otherworldly in this playoff
Mhm.
series for Philly to make this series go longer than it maybe should. Between him and
Mhm.
Tobias Harris, and you still have the former Celtic Al Horford. If those three guys can rally together, not only on offense but on the defensive end as well, because that's where Philly's gonna win their games. You have to be able to slow down Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. If you can't slow down those guys and they are able to have their way on the offensive end, it's going to be a long night for the Sixers, and it's going to be a longer playoff series.
Mhm.
So, you know, Jason Tatum is definitely the player that I will, in that series, I will be watching, because he's just he's growed from every year that he was at. Like, his first year, when Kyrie was on the Celtics, and he was hurt, or not playing or whatever. Jason Tatum and the rest of those guys got their team to the Eastern Conference Finals. They lost to LeBron and the Cavs, but
Mhm.
still, he was a rookie at that time, and he already in his first year had gotten to the Eastern Conference Finals. So
Mhm.
I just see the trajectory that he's on, and he's developing, and he's a budding star in this league. And I think this first round series is a definite way for him to build on his legend a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with a lot that you said. My prediction is it's slightly different than yours, but it's not that far. I expect this to go. I think this series can go at least 6 games. I think that the Sixers could at least take two. I agree the Boston Celtics team is special. Obviously, without Ben Simmons, that hurts Philly's chances a lot because of how versatile he can be, and especially after Brett Brown moved him to power forward instead of playing guard, that would have gave the offense a new dynamic. But now that he's out, and like Joel Embiid had the injury, and we both expect him to be back, and like you said, he has to be special because of the length that their starting five for Boston is with Kemba Walker, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Gordon Hayward, and Enes Kanter. Kanter's a good player. Kanter, when he was with Utah, he was a really good guy. Like he could score on the inside, he could score in the paint. He's like a big dude that's like hard for you to take him down. And it'll be interesting to see. I don't know if Brad Stevens will do it, but it'll be interesting if they brought Taco Fall into the game. You know Taco, he's mad big, and I think it would be fun, and it would kind of make Joel Embiid have to work a little bit more because he's smaller than Taco, so it'd be interesting to see. But I think the Sixers could at least take 2 games because they have Joel. If Joel plays good, because now he doesn't have to worry much about Ben Simmons because they kind of had like 2 different styles of play, even though Ben Simmons definitely helped a lot with his assists and everything. I think that Joel can flourish with him injured, despite it kind of hurting the team in total. But they still have Al Horford, Josh Richardson. You know Josh because we both like Miami. He's a hard worker. He can shoot the 3. He's a good defender. They also have I can't remember his first name, but Thibault, who is good on defensively as well, and he can shoot the ball as well. They have Shake Milton, which had a couple of good games. I didn't really see much of him in the last game that they played, but I think that he still can be a good offensive threat. And plus, he'll be guarding against Kemba. Kemba isn't the biggest guard, and I think he's kind of a liability on defense. But you know Kemba, he makes those big shots, and in Charlotte, he willed that team. He just wouldn't let that go. He made big shots, big threes, big layups. And because of that, I'm giving Philly a fighting chance and think they can at least take 2. I don't think they're going to make it to Game 7 or win the series, but I think they can at least take 2. And I know that home court isn't much of a factor because they're all in the bubble, but I think that Philly can at least take 1. Like you said, if Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are on the top game, that could be a good opening for Philly for them to utilize that. No matter because sometimes if a couple of players aren't playing well, players on the bench, and it's just a matter of if the Boston bench will show up or if Philly will show up and take advantage if stars are struggling. So I predict this series to go 6 games, Boston ultimately winning 4-2.
I'm definitely predicting. One thing I know for sure is that Joel Embiid will average 30 points in this series because he won't have no choice. He's going to average 30 because he has to average 30. And like I said, he has to be special. This, with Ben Simmons out, for him as an individual player, this playoffs is a big one for him because even if the team, loses, he can show that ability that we all know that he possesses. So you look for him to have, some 35, 40-point games. It's definitely going to happen.
Score 30 points. Philly's season alive, or prolong the end of the season, I guess you could say, or giving them a fighting chance in this series. But I definitely agree Joel Embiid has to be special, and I think the Sixers can do some damage, but it's just a matter of how much damage they can take to give to Boston. And I think it would, like you said, like Boston and Philly don't really like each other. So I think I don't know if I should say animosity towards each other depending on the history, but because of Ben Simmons being out, that kind of tampers the fire in this so-called rivalry. But it's definitely going to be cool to see. So I'm looking forward to that series.